If you live in Florida, hurricanes are one of Mother Nature's issues that we must be prepared to face.
You got to think of every year as being the year that it could happen.
Then we'll hear how Central Florida prepares to react in the event of a major storm.
Well, the Office of Emergency Management really prepares for all types of disasters pretty much throughout the year.
We'll talk with two Central Floridians about being prepared for hurricane season, next on Metro Center Outlook. Hello, I'm Diane Trees. Hurricane season begins on June 1st and runs through the end of November. The keys to surviving a major storm are early notification and being prepared. Joining us now is WFTV Chief Meteorologist Tom Terry to talk about the technology of hurricane forecasting and what to expect this hurricane season. Tom, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, Diane. Nice to be here.
Why does the Hurricane Center issue seasonal forecasts instead of waiting until a storm forms and then reports on it?
We all want to know, right? We all want to have a good idea, or at least some idea, if it's going to be an active season or a non-active season. But the more I've done this, 23 years now, the more I realize that it's hard enough to get the 5-day rain forecast right, much less trying to look 6 or 8 or 9 months out into the future. So there's only so much really good information that we can glean from it, because you could only have a forecast of 6 storms, but you could have a major hurricane like Andrew hit your state. So it's not about the number of storms, but where they hit. And that part of the science we haven't figured out yet.
So the seasonal forecast is not necessarily accurate, but is it more of a reminder and a warning, do you think, to people that this is the season? Do you think it serves a purpose for that?
Well, I think first of all, the forecast numbers themselves, because from what I've been able to ascertain, they don't really mean a whole lot. Seriously, you can forecast 15 named storms, but if they're all out in the Atlantic, then you've missed out. And sometimes I think it can do a disservice, because we're expecting a quieter than average hurricane season this year. But if all of those storms are near the United States, then it's been a big impact. So there's still a big disconnect there. We just have to be prepared no matter what the forecast for the season turns out to be.
I've lived in Florida a long time. It seems like there's been more activity in the Atlantic region in the last decade or so. Do you think that's the case, and what would contribute to that?
Well, we went through a very busy cycle. The cycle actually began back in 1995. And the Atlantic Ocean and the Pacific both go through multi-decade cycles of being warmer and being cooler, and warm water is the gasoline, the fuel for hurricanes. So the Atlantic has been warmer than its long-term average since 1995. We literally just hit a switch back in 95, started having a lot of activity, and now it's begun to wane just a little bit. And really since 2004, or really 2005, we haven't had a lot of activity hit the U.S., and we're not exactly sure why. We're still learning.
With the average hurricane season being a six-month period, talk about what's the most active part, when it starts, and what you expect in activity
Well,
levels.
the peak of the season is generally the 10th, 11th of September. That's the climatological peak of the mountain for activity. But for Florida, we tend to get early activity in June or early July in the form of tropical storms that develop close to Florida and the Gulf of Mexico.
So if we have an really active first part, does that mean we're going to have a super active second part?
Absolutely
are they related?
not. They're
no.
not. This is like saying because it rained heavy last week, it's going to rain heavy next week. It's completely disparate. So you can have a lot of activity early on, but then a very quiet period after that. So they are not connected as far as we know.
Well, that makes it terribly hard to predict
It's very,
anything.
that's why I don't do it.
Well, then explain in lay terms, how do hurricanes form, and why do they move the way they do?
Yeah, well, it depends on which hemisphere. We're in the northern hemisphere.
Right.
Low pressure is a counterclockwise spin, and if you actually find a tropical system south of the equator, they spin the opposite way. But generally, we will get waves that come off of Africa. They actually come off the rainforests of Africa. And the winds and the atmosphere bring these little disturbances, and if the conditions are just right, if they're not battling dry, dusty air off Africa or hit a lot of strong wind shear from the jet stream, they can start to blossom. And then they get bigger and bigger and bigger. Then we start noticing them on our satellite pictures, and our forecast models start chewing on the solution for what may happen to them. And if all the conditions are right, we'll have 50 or 60 of these waves over the 6-month period. But only a handful of them will have the right conditions to spin up into a hurricane.
Do you keep watching all 50 or 60? Do you keep track of all of
Oh,
that?
yeah. We'll actually put a little line, dash, dash, dash. There's 1-way, 2-way, 3-way. But we'll also know the other parameters. The jet stream winds are very strong, so this wave probably won't develop. But this one over here may have the right ingredients.
Now you said that in the northern hemisphere, is it clockwise, counterclockwise rotation?
Well,
And
yeah,
then-
it's counterclockwise.
Okay, and then it would be the opposite then in the southern hemisphere.
That's right. It's kind of odd when you're used to looking at storms spinning one way to see them going the other way. They're like, hey, you're backwards.
I would, and that would flip then some of the dangerous elements then, depending on the
That's
geographic
exactly
location.
right. Yeah, we
Good
really
to know if you're traveling.
But yeah, we really watch storms that come in from the Gulf of Mexico, because that generally means we are in kind of that northeast quadrant where the winds are the most turbulent, and we can get a lot of tornadoes here when we get storms in the Gulf. I always get nervous when we get tropical systems in the Gulf. That's when we have a lot of tornadoes here.
Okay, well that's a good thing to
So a
watch
lot
out
to get
for.
your mind wrapped around, a lot going on.
Well, and then what is El Nino? How does that play into the factors? And that changes every year, is
Now
that correct?
that's generally it will last for about a year or so. We have El Nino cycles, and off the coast of South America in the Pacific, they started noticing hundreds of years ago that if the waters were very warm off the coast there, they would have a very active season in the Pacific. And we also started noticing that it would change the jet stream winds across the Gulf of Mexico and the Caribbean. And it's a lot of wind. It's like trying to start a campfire and someone's got a big fan blowing. You're trying to strike that match and you can't get it with all the wind.
But that's good.
You shut the wind off. Next thing you know, the flame goes and you can get something going. It's kind of like that with a tropical system. If there's a lot of jet stream wind, a lot of wind shear, tropical systems don't like to form. But back to your question. El Nino, the warm Pacific waters generally mean fewer storms in our hemisphere because of the wind shear. So right now we're actually going into an El Nino cycle. That's why we think there won't be as many storms. But we have had notable storms during El Nino cycles. We had Betsy in '65, Andrew in '92. In fact, in '04, 10 years ago this summer, we had a slight El Nino and we got hit 3 times.
And I think that's the important factor that you're saying. Even if it's predicted a low number of storms, one of those could be a Category 4 and make impact with the United States.
You know, 2005 we had, 31 storms? Only took Katrina to remember 2005.
Hurricanes, strength-wise, are categorized according to wind speed.
That's right.
But there are other factors that can give you an idea of further potential damage that people should be aware of. Can you talk about some of those?
Well, Katrina is a perfect example of that, because Katrina actually hit landfall just as barely a major hurricane, a Category 3, I believe, when it was once a big Category 5 in the Gulf. But it had so much wind energy that the storm surge, that kind of pushing of wind against water, and it just kind of rushed this record storm surge out ahead of it. So it had Category 5 storm surge at 28 feet in Mississippi, but it was only a Category 3 at landfall. So a lot of people who perished in Katrina, some of the stories were that they had survived Category 5 Camille in '69 and said, well, this is only Category 3, we made it through. But it had a storm surge that belied its strength. So that's one of the new things you're going to start issuing in the next couple of years, are these storm surge warnings along the coast, which we've never had before.
And are you saying that they'll be categorized as well? So people, like you said, if it's a Category 3 surge, will that be a new way of giving people an idea of the...
We're still going to have the same Saffir-Simpson scale. There will still be a Category 3, 4, or 5.
For hurricane.
Right, exactly. But they're going to separate and have separate warnings for the storm surge.
So for the coastal residents, would you say that the biggest threat when a hurricane comes in, is it the wind or is it the water?
It is the storm surge. It is a combination of the winds pushing against the water, which water pushes on shore. Now we can also have a lot of wind damage, stuff blowing around. We saw that in Punta Gorda back when Hurricane Charley made landfall. So it's a two-pronged approach.
What about for inland residents? What's the biggest danger there?
The biggest danger for inland residents is getting in the way of the evacuees when they're trying to get out of the way. Seriously. There were more people who died during the evacuation of Hurricane Rita in Houston than were actually killed from the storm itself, because a lot of people evacuated when they didn't need to. But more to your question, a lot of it is the inland flooding. If you're in a low-lying area, if you're in a mobile home or trailer or something like that that is not substantially built for hurricane force winds or some of the storms that surround it, you need to find a safe shelter. But generally, if you're in a relatively modern home, block construction, hunker down where you are, you're probably a lot better off there.
It makes me feel better. My house is block.
Yeah.
Do you advise residents in Florida to prepare any differently than if it's a slow season predicted?
Absolutely
or everything
not.
Should be right?
Absolutely, yeah. You got to think of every year as being the year that it could happen, and need to prepare now, because when Hurricane Charlie came through, we were 2.5, 3 weeks. Some folks without power. We knew with less than 8 hours warning that it was going to be in our local area from that morning. So you don't have time to go out and get ready.
Tom, as a meteorologist here in Florida, what's the biggest challenge for you during hurricane season?
Well,
with all your experience as well. So.
I think the challenge is to have everyone still ready for the season, because we get into this malaise. It's been since 2004 that we've had a major storm come through here, and I think folks just kind of poo-poo it. Oh, we don't need to. It won't be our year. We don't need to worry about it. So just trying to keep folks focused.
Alert and focused. Thank you. Good information. I appreciate it.
Very welcome.
When we come back, we'll focus on Central Florida and how our local communities are preparing for another hurricane season. Joining us now is Alan Harris, who is the Emergency Management Director for Seminole County. Alan, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
How does your office go about preparing for hurricane season?
Well, the Office of Emergency Management really prepares for all types of disasters pretty much throughout the year. We do that by developing emergency management plans, coordinating with entities such as the business community, faith-based organization, nonprofit organizations, working with our departments and our municipalities. We work on long-term mitigation plans for building up our resilience to disasters, whether they're natural, technological, or man-made disasters. Of course, with hurricanes, we know what those types of experiences are like. We've dealt with those before, so we try to strengthen our systems and strengthen our resources to manage those types of events.
So there's not any big push right before the season. It's sort of managed all year round then.
It really is managed throughout the year. I will say, though, the first couple months right before hurricane season is the true test. So we plan throughout the year, but the 2 months prior to, we start to do our exercises. So we have actually been working on some exercises during the months of April and May to get prepared for the hurricane season. And in May, we always capstone that with a large hurricane exercise where we bring in all of our partners and we simulate a hurricane hitting the Central Florida area. We normally do a Category 5 hurricane coming in around the Volusia-Brevard County line, going across the state of Florida, western. So that would be our worst case scenario in Seminole County, because we're only about 30 miles from the coast as the bird flies at that, or as the hurricane moves, right, at that time. So that would be our worst case scenario.
When we have 66 other counties in the state, I'm curious, do they have plans the same, or does everybody have a different kind of management system that they have?
Well, their statutes, of course, say that we will have certain plans.
Certain basic rules
yes.
in place.
There are some basic, you will have these types of plans. You will have an Office of Emergency Management. So that's in statute and rule throughout the state. So all 67 counties have that. Our county takes those, of course, and adapts it to our community. Seminole County has vastly different concerns, say, than even our neighbor Orange County, which deals with theme parks and those types of. We deal with more business and banking,
right.
and so we're really concerned more with natural lands. We are Florida's natural choice, as well as our business communities, because we have some major national headquarters along Lake Mary and the Heathrow area. So, and then working with the smaller organizations too, our nonprofits and faith-based. We have a huge faith-based organization organization group in Seminole County, and we work very closely with those folks.
Do you think because Seminole is landlocked, do you think people are a little more complacent for the danger here or forget about some of the big storms we've had?
That is a major concern of emergency managers. We call it hurricane amnesia. And hurricane amnesia means that over time, you have kind of forgotten how bad that hurricane was a few years ago.
I can understand that.
Absolutely. So it is a concern of ours, and that's why public education and public outreach is so important. Whether it's to the elementary school child that takes something home to mom and dad, all the way up to the CEO of a major corporation in the Heathrow, Altamont Springs communities. It's very important for people to understand the types of emergencies, the types of hazards we have to deal with, and what they can do to prepare their employees, their children, their families for those kinds of emergencies.
Well, since you are in a landlocked county, do you still prepare then if you have an influx of coastal residents if they were evacuated? So you have to prepare in that way as well?
Absolutely. We are a host community, so when Volusia County, Brevard County evacuates, they would come to our county. So part of our training is also making sure that our principals and assistant principals and teachers understand if we open up their schools for shelters, what that's going to look like. Working with our volunteers, the American Red Cross, Salvation Army, the folks that are going to come into the shelters. Working with our health department and our health and medical folks at the hospitals, because as those people evacuate into us, they're going to have medical needs, oxygen, electricity to run medical devices, things like that. So even though they're evacuating, and they're evacuating tens of miles in some cases, we will have a group there that we need to help host. At the same time as they're evacuating, we are also concerned with our own citizens, and those people will be evacuating as well from mobile homes, manufactured homes, low-lying areas, things like that, and we need to be prepared for those folks as well.
Now you talk about taking care of different kinds of disasters. How do you train and prep your people for all the scenarios that you have? And even with a hurricane, you have a vast amount of different things that can occur.
We have multiple exercises testing different types of systems. For example, we have an exercise just for our Citizens Information Hotline, or what used to be called rumor control, where citizens can call in and get general information about what's going on. So we test that one day. The next day we may test our point of distribution, where food, water, tarps, those types of relief are provided to people that are unable to get that because grocery stores are destroyed or damaged and their homes are destroyed. We test our emergency operations center, the coordination between fire, law enforcement, health, hospitals, public works, roads, all of those, environmental, water, sewer, and our power companies. We have spots for our private industries inside of our EOC as well. It's very important to test those processes to make sure that everything flows very effective, very efficient during a hurricane. We don't want to wait till a hurricane happens to test those systems, so we test them regularly.
Now, with a hurricane, a lot of people just assume that the damage is wind. What are some of the other things that we need to be alert for as an inland area?
Well, flooding is a major concern. We learned that in 2008. Actually, in 2004, we had 3 hurricanes, and in those 3 hurricanes, we learned a lot. One, Charley, we learned a Category 4 hurricane coming in on the west coast south part of the state can still get to Seminole County and be a strong Category 2 hurricane as it passes over us and do lots of damage. In Hurricane Francis, we used to say have a 72-hour kit. Now we're saying have about a week worth of supplies inside of your home. Now I would never tell anyone to go and buy everything right now, right before hurricane season. I'm a government employee, I can't afford to do that myself. Instead, each time I go to the grocery store, each time I go to the hardware store, I get a couple extra items. Over time, I get a nice disaster kit. Now in Hurricane Francis, that's what we learned. Don't do 72 hours because it took 72 hours just for Hurricane Francis to get by. And then Hurricane Jeanne taught us that we always need to watch a storm, right? Because it made that loop. In 2008, in Tropical Storm Faye, it wasn't even a hurricane, Tropical Storm Faye, we learned the dangers of flood. And it was one of the worst flood experiences we had. Lots of homes flooded.
Now, your website is quite comprehensive. You have an extensive area for children. Why do that? Why is that important?
Children are first for the mental health of a child. We've seen both. We've seen where children are not involved in the preparedness process, and we've seen children that are involved in the preparedness process. And when they are involved in the preparedness process, they are much more calm. They can help the family. They sometimes will inject things into what's going on with the family that the parents didn't even think about. It's wonderful to educate the children too, because they take it home to mom and dad, which are so busy. We are so busy these days that who has time to be thinking about preparedness?
Well,
okay?
and your site has such a nice, friendly way. It was a lot of fun. I looked at some of the games that they have for the children. So.
And I have to help, or I have to thank the University of Central Florida. University of Central Florida has partnered with us. Some of their educational folks have been working with us to build out that. And that's very important. We value our partnerships, but if we can get them to play some games, maybe
It's a
they'll
good
learn
learning tool.
something. Absolutely, they'll learn something and take it home to mom and dad, or maybe even play with mom and dad.
Well, when I was reading through the website, you stress again and again how critical it is to have a family plan in place. Why do that?
Because you need to know where you're going to go during a disaster. And unfortunately, in 2004 and in 2008, we heard many of the same things. We received lots of phone calls into our emergency operations center that people had evacuated and planned to go to their family's house. Their family did not know that they were going to do that. They came to our county evacuating, or they were even in our county and they evacuated to a shelter and they didn't have their medical supplies. They didn't know what types of medicines they were on. They knew they were on a beta blocker, but they didn't know it was Metropola.
Yes.
So those types of things, and that's what you need to have in your plan. Some important telephone numbers. So many of us are so used to picking up that phone and going to Aunt Susie and pushing the green button. We've forgotten our telephone numbers. We've forgotten what medications we are, because everything's it's in the closet, or it's in the drawer.
We
drawer over there.
assume from your memory. No, what you're saying is that not only need a plan, it's important to customize it then for your particular family.
Absolutely, absolutely. It has to be for your family. It has to be specific to each of the members of your family. The insurance information is going to be different from family to family. It's important to have pictures, and now we're in the electronic age, so put those pictures on a flash drive. And every insurance adjuster is going to have a laptop with them when they get there, so you're going to have all the pictures. So when you say, I had that surround sound system and your home's been damaged and there is no surround sound system there anymore, you have a picture of it right there.
What about volunteer opportunities? I know you have a lot listed. Where are the areas that you need help the most?
And I really thank you for asking that question. That's very important. Throughout the last 4 to 5 years, government has heard the cry for less government, and we've done it. We've reduced staff, we've reduced costs, but that means we need more volunteers, and we need them more than ever before. We need them as shelter managers through the American Red Cross. They can get that training. We need them to organize with their faith-based organizations, disaster response teams. We need them to work with nonprofit organizations like the Salvation Army. Wherever they are spiritually led, or wherever they're led just because that's interesting to them, that's where they need to go and get some training and volunteer. Government needs you more than it's ever needed you before, because there isn't much of us left.
Alan, what would be your most critical piece of advice for Floridians now facing another hurricane season?
Get a plan. It's so important. Have a plan, have a family disaster plan. Get a kit together. Don't forget the four-legged ones and the other ones when you're putting that kit together. Our pets are very important, so make the kit include every member of the family, even including the pet. Get a plan, stay informed. We have lots of different ways you can stay informed. No weather radios, electronic text notification systems that we offer, reverse 911 systems.
And those are all on your website as well.
They are on our website, and you can register for any of those that you wish to receive. And then the last is volunteer. So 4 steps: get a plan, make a kit, stay informed, and then volunteer.
Alan, thank you so much. Good information.
Thank you.
That's all the time we have for our show today. Please visit wucftv.org/metro for interactive features, special content, and much more. Thanks for joining us. Until next time, I'm Diane Trees.